Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Friday, September 11th, 2009. This morning I wanted to answer a question that often comes up after people have downloaded the non-commercial from our website, and that is, what next? I've managed to get it downloaded, installed, and running. What do I do with it? Well, the first thing you want to do is set your working environment up to make things a little easier on you, especially if you're new to Smalltalk. There are a number of packages you want to load that'll make life a lot simpler. Let's go to the Parcel Manager, and I'll first show you what they are, and then, more importantly, show you how to automatically load them so that you don't have to do this by hand. So I'll go into Parcel Manager, and in here you have all the components you can load categorized under a bunch of options. So I have Essentials. In here there are a bunch of things that you may want, but the ones that I'm looking at right now, right here, is UI Painter. That'll already be preloaded when you start the product up if you're in the non-commercial, but this one's quite useful. RB Unit Extensions. If you're interested in test-driven development, this integrates SUnit with the browser and gives you one-touch hitting for tests directly in the browser. Developer Tools has a bunch of other things you may want. In here, all the access to all the store packages. If you're in the non-commercial, Store for Postgres is already preloaded, and you can have access to the public repository right from the get-go. You probably want to read the doc and look at some of the screencasts on setting up your own repository so that you can do that locally. If you go into Environment Enhancements, this is where a bunch of things you probably want are. Autocomplete, so if you want text completing as you're typing, that kind of help, that's here. Block Indent, if you want the editor to be a little smarter about where it puts tabs, right here. Down here a little further, you go into RB Code Highlighting. If you want color syntax highlighting, which most people want, that's here. Doesn't come in by default, you have to load it. A little further down, Tab Toolsets. A lot of people who are familiar with tools like Eclipse are a little thrown off by Smalltalk's insistence on having multiple browsers open all over the place. If that's not what you want, if you want to have tabs in a single browser and make that one browser a little bigger, this is the tool you want. Now you can always load these by right-clicking and doing Load, but let me show you a little shortcut that makes this a little easier to set up a working environment. What I've got here is a little script file. It's just Smalltalk code in a file saved as startingload.st. And I have commands here, parcel, load parcel from, and here I have the directory path with this environment variable. That environment variable should point to the top of your VisualWorks installation. I have that set in a starting script because I sometimes start VisualWorks 7.6, sometimes 7.7, sometimes older versions of the product, sometimes newer versions that are under development. So if you're doing that, you want to do something like what I'm doing here. Typically, if you're on Windows, this will be set in the registry and you don't need to worry about that. But here I have at the end, saving the image as working 7.7, then quit false. That means I can fire the script off once, get a working image, and be done with it. So let me show you how that works. What I'm going to do is kill my image, and we'll do this without saving. I'm going to show you my start VW script. So this script, all it does is go and set my environment variable, export it, and then taking the path to my VM, $* meaning take the rest of the command line, append it on, put it in the background, and run. And what it'll do is start bringing in the parcels, and this actually happens pretty quickly. You're going to notice that it's going to go to saving the image right there, and my image has both fired up, loaded all those components, and saved itself. Now let's bring up a browser and take a look at what it did for me. So I'll go here, bring up a browser, and if I look in here, I want to say bring me a new tab, so View, New View. Instead of opening up something without the tabs, this brings the tab right here. And if I go and select this, you see that. I come down here, I now have two tabs open on two different things. So I can flip back and forth. If I go to this class here, or this class here where there's some actual code, you can now see color syntax highlighting. So that's all specified for you. You can now start picking things out based on the color and font instead of having to know Smalltalk syntax like the back of your hand. I've been around Smalltalk long enough that I do know Smalltalk syntax like the back of my hand, but most of you who are starting probably don't. So that gets you started and gives me a working image that I can fire up and just get started with instead of having to build that by hand every single time. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.